What is up, LudyBros Army? It is your boy, Big Bro Lamar Ludy, and the time has come to sit down and take another look at an NBA team that has had my attention this season. An NBA team that I've sat down to watch every game that I could just to see how things were going to turn out. An NBA team that I was doubting very early on before the season started for a number of reasons. There was two reasons that really stood out to me and was reasons for me to doubt this team. But midway through this season, they've completely had to make me change my narrative on the way things are going to shape up for them. But before we get into this video, please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're getting a lot of content daily out to you guys, especially discussing the NBA right now during the midway point. All right, I wanted to sit down today to talk about the Charlotte Hornets, and I wanted to take a look at this team because at the beginning of the season, I did not think that they made the right moves. Drafting LaMelo Ball that was the obvious pick that they were going to do coming out of the draft. But the addition of Gordon Hayward, I didn't think that was going to work at all. Speaking as a Celtic fan, Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier are both former players of mine. So I didn't think that they had that good of a relationship. To tell you the honest truth, I didn't think they had that good of a relationship. Terry Rozier left from out of the Celtics because he was looking for more playing time. I wish we still had him right now. A little side note, I wish we still had him right now. Gordon Hayward, we had him last year. It was too bad, I guess, because his time spent in Boston, he spent more time, I feel, in the hospital room than he did in a Celtics jersey. So we didn't really get to see him the way that the Utah Jazz fans did. I've never been high on Gordon Hayward, but he's gone on to I guess a better fit for him. So that's good for him. But looking at the Charlotte Hornets, and what they've been able to accomplish with this extremely young roster has really, really impressed me. And besides the two guys that I just talked about briefly, LaMelo Ball has really been the catalyst for everything that's going on over in Charlotte. So let's go ahead. Let's look at the team's per game stats. Let's look at the stats these guys are putting out. Gordon Hayward is leading the way for the Hornets. He's getting 21 points per game. He's a glue guy. He's a glue guy who can, do it all. He was all-star level when he was playing in Utah. He came to Boston. He was getting about 17 points per game for us. And over here, with an expanded role for the Hornets, he's been able to produce, 21 points per game, which it's not surprising. It was never surprising to me in games where he would chip in, 20 points. And here he's doing that as, I guess if you want to call him, he's the main weapon for the Charlotte Hornets. He's their main weapon. He's getting the most field goal attempts. He's shooting at a pretty high clip, 48%. 85% from the line, and he does it all. He's getting about 5.4 rebounds and almost 4 assists per game, a little bit more than a steal. So he's definitely stepping up as the leader of this Charlotte Hornets team. And he's being backed by Terry Rozier, who's going out and getting 20 points per game himself. So between the two of those guys, they're really attacking from the perimeter. Now, Terry Rozier, he's a dog. I loved him in Boston coming off the bench. I wish we would have been able to hold on to him, because if we had him right now instead of Kemba, we'll save that for another video. I'm just going to throw that out there, though, if we had Terry Rozier instead of Kemba. But Terry Rozier, he's a dog. He's going to come in. He's going to compete every night. He has something to prove. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, and I love that about him. He's aggressive, and he looks stronger, too. Just looking at him physically, he looks stronger than he did when he was playing in Boston. Looks like he's put on some muscular weight to go ahead and absorb the contact. And it's showing here. He's getting 20 points per game. He's shooting from the field. He's shooting 49% from the field. That he gets into the cup. I know that he finishes at the rim, and he's coming out to fill up some buckets for you. Now, the big piece, though, which is I know why a lot of people are tuning in to this video and why I really wanted to sit down and make it, was LaMelo Ball. And so let's go ahead and check out LaMelo's stats just on his own, in his short career. He's over here averaging 15.8 points per game with 6 rebounds and a little bit more than 6 assists per game. He has been able to come in and really just excite and ignite what's going on down with the Charlotte Hornets. He was a great pick by Michael Jordan. I know that Jordan gets crucified for a lot of his choices, and you know what? Honestly, he does have some bad ones on his resume, but he's hit this one out of the park so far, and I definitely think that LaMelo Ball going forward, he can be a focal point for your offense just because of the way that he goes out there and he plays with, just such energy and excitement. He's going out and, every time he touches the ball, I mean, I'm excited. I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat whenever he's got the ball in his hands, just thinking about what he's going to try and do next. I really like the fact that that he goes out and plays, not trying to necessarily make the right play, but it turns out to be the right play. If that makes sense to you guys, if that makes sense to you hoop heads, he's out here throwing passes that you might think, oh man, don't throw that pass, but then it's able to get through. And you can just tell, like, this guy has a knack for making these passes and making these plays with a certain amount of flair and excitement that really is just what you need. Like I said, he's the catalyst. He's the catalyst for what's going on down in Charlotte. Putting him into the starting lineup has really allowed them to take off and added a dimension to their offense and to their defense. He comes out on the defensive end, he's active, reaching his hands into passing lanes, trying to deflect balls and passes and really get things going on either end of the court. And you can tell he plays with a love for the game. And I think that's what's really drawn me over to him, because coming into this, I wasn't high on him. I'll be honest. I was not high on LaMelo Ball. I was not high on the Ball brothers. I felt like I was proven right with Lonzo when he, kind of fizzled out down in LA. If you've had a chance to check out my Pelicans video, I do talk about Lonzo Ball and the way that he's, connected with Zion, which I like that fit for him much better. I like that team and organization as of right now for him much better. But with the amount of hype that these guys were given, and I know it's probably due to their dad, but, I didn't think that LaMelo was going to come in and have the impact he's had so far. But if you start looking up some of the things that he's been able to do since he got into the starting lineup, I mean, the guy's making history. If you just go ahead and look up some of his stats, here he is collecting his first triple-double back on January 9th, 2021, and he's the youngest player in league history to accomplish this feat. And he does this against the Hawks, tallying 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists, as Charlotte's winning its third game in 4 days, and second against Atlanta in that span. And the things that, he's able to do on the court, he's just going out to play. I don't feel like he doesn't feel any pressure. You can just see the joy on him when on his face when he's out there playing with these guys. And it's really great to see. It's really refreshing. It's like a breath of fresh air. And I had no idea that I was going to, be completely turned around by his play. But this is what for in these young players when they come into the NBA, you want them to come in, prove something to you, and then you can really get behind them and root them on. And that's, what I've started to do with LaMelo Ball, is just root for him to go ahead and get in there and get what he needs to get. And it continues on. I mean, that was what he did. And then a couple nights later, here February 6th, we're seeing that he's registering his first 30-point game of the season to set his career high. Now, this wasn't a loss, but he's going out there dropping 34 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds. 4 of 9 from 3 and committing no turnovers. So for a guy who's so flashy, that's another thing that's great to see. For a guy who's so flashy, he's able to get out there and still handle the ball with precision, getting other people involved. I mean, it's great to see a 19-year-old coming into the NBA and having such a flair, for the dramatic to come in and put his mark onto this franchise. So as of right now, we're seeing with the Charlotte Hornets, they're the 7th seed in their conference. Can they hold on to this going forward? Now, I think that they can. And I do think LaMelo is going to have a lot to do with this. But going back over to the team stats, looking with Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier, they're taking some pressure off of him. I really like Miles Bridges a lot. He's getting just 10 points per game right now, but I really like him a lot. He's super athletic, and he and LaMelo have hooked up on quite a few highlights already, with LaMelo throwing the lob up to Miles Bridges. I think that this team has, they've got a couple veteran leaders to take the pressure off LaMelo, but LaMelo is like I said, he's the match. He's the match for this team. And as long as he continues to play, you know, with this type of athleticism, with this type of hunger, with this type of excitement, with this type of energy, I think that they will be able to hold on to their playoff spot and make it in, you know, here in LaMelo's rookie year. Now, as far as once they get in there, because they're going to be a low seed, it's going to be a definite learning process if they face one of the top teams, being the Nets, the Sixers, or the Bucks. That's going to be a big time step, but that's what we need for these younger players to progress, is you've got to take those lumps as you try and work your way up. But you can see here the scoring is relatively balanced. Devontae Graham was getting 13.7 points per game. PJ Washington chipping in 12. And then there's LaMelo with his almost 16 points per game, which, like I said, lately it seems like that's going up and up and up. I'm not surprised when I sit down to watch this team play if I see a three-headed monster of Hayward, Rozier, and Ball all, you know, over 20 points. That doesn't surprise me at all. But what do you think about the Charlotte Hornets? What do you think about LaMelo Ball? Were you high on him coming into this season? Was he one of your guys that you were keeping an eye on coming out of this draft? Is he doing what you expected him to do? Just let me know down in the comments below. I'm looking to talk a lot of basketball. You can see all this basketball content that's been coming out from our channel. Hit me up in the comments below. Let's get some discussions going. Thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I'll see you guys next time.